My name is Robert, the main character of the story. And if I should die soon, I think I deserve to have a good time with a virgin girl. Don't you think so?
I am Liam, Robert's son. Because I want my inheritance, I have to let my father taste my girlfriend. Is that a bad thing?
My name is Sarah, and I'm torn between a father and his son. Who should I give myself to?
This story runs deep with truth and pain. Watch this movie to the very end by Mr. Hope. Tell a friend to watch as well.
If I don't find a woman to be with in 3 days, I'll end my life. The shout of old man Robert, 71 years old, echoed through the living room. He stood in the center, wearing only a faded tank top and boxer shorts with a hole near the crotch. The whole family was stunned. Mary, his wife, nearly spilled hot clam chowder on herself. Their only son, Liam, cursed under his breath and covered his face in embarrassment. "Robert, what kind of madness is this now?" sing-songed Mary, trembling with irritation and fear. "Do you really have to threaten to end your life over this nonsense?" "It's not a joke, Mary," Robert replied gravely, tears welling in his eyes. "I'm nearing the end. Can't I feel the warmth of a woman's touch one more time before I leave this world?" Liam paused mid-bite. "Dad, that doesn't seem right. Why does it need an ultimatum?" Robert shook his head and pulled a crumpled paper from the back of his boxers. "This is what I want in a woman. Innocent, caring, smooth skin, gentle but with a hidden spark, skilled at caring for the elderly, and above all, with a natural scent even right after waking." Mary and Liam exchanged nervous glances. Each trait perfectly described Liam's girlfriend, Sarah, a nurse at a local nursing home. Silence enveloped the dining table, broken only by the clink of spoons against plates. Robert cheerfully described his possible methods of ending it all. "If Sunday comes, and I haven't been with someone, I'll burn all your diplomas, even my old baseball cards, and jump off the roof." Liam shut his eyes in frustration, but behind his irritation, an idea began to form. The next day, Liam quietly approached Sarah in the backyard, where she was tending to the garden. "Love," he whispered. "Oh, what? Want something specific for dinner?" Sarah asked, smiling sweetly. No, it's about Dad," he replied, his voice trembling. "He has a heart condition and just wants to feel a woman's affection before he goes." Sarah froze. "Liam, what exactly do you want me to do?" He took her hand. "Just spend time with Dad. A little teasing, maybe some nurse role play. Nothing serious has to happen." But deep down, Liam had another plan. If his father believed he had a chance with Sarah, he might pass on his inheritance sooner. "Just a bit of affection, Sarah, to lift his spirits," Liam said softly, playing with her hair under the shade of an oak tree. But there was a sadness in his eyes, a hint of something hidden behind his smile. This wasn't the playful dreamer Liam that Sarah knew. Now he seemed like a manipulative salesman. "Liam," Sarah replied, "this isn't a joke. That's your father. We've never been like this before." Liam gripped her hand. "Love, please. If it were up to me, I wouldn't ask this. But I'm worried his stress might trigger a heart attack. I just want to ease his burden." Sarah fell silent. As a nurse, she was used to patients, but now it wasn't just a body she was tending to. It was a family at stake. She sensed something incomplete in Liam's explanation, as if there was a deeper motive. The next morning, Mary cooked oatmeal quietly. Everyone ate in silence, while Robert grinned as he stirred milk into his coffee. "You know, back in my day, I could handle 5 women in one night. Now I can't even get one. It's embarrassing." Sarah's eyes widened, unsure whether to laugh or cringe. Liam stayed quiet, staring at the floor. Mary acted as if she hadn't heard, but under the table, she let out a soft sigh. After breakfast, Liam approached Sarah in the kitchen, holding a paper bag. "Wear this later," he whispered, a nurse outfit to get Dad in the mood. When Sarah opened the bag, she saw a thin white dress with a slit up the thigh and a bottle of lavender oil. "Liam, this looks like something out of a cheap movie," she said, eyes wide. "It's just role play, love," he winked. "Besides, you're the only one who can help him now." "Why does it always feel like I'm the one sacrificing?" she asked softly. "Because you're the only one he'll listen to," Liam replied, turning away, leaving Sarah alone in the kitchen. The day passed like a nightmare. Sarah prayed, showered, and repeatedly checked herself in the mirror. "I'm not a bad person. I'm a nurse, and this is therapy." She repeated it like a mantra while dabbing lavender oil on her neck. In her room, she paced, feeling like an actress in a scene she didn't want to play but had to perform. She tried on the dress and gave a wry smile when she noticed her nipples were visible through the thin fabric. "Liam, you're such a jerk," she muttered, reassuring herself in front of the mirror. When she entered Robert's room, it was dim, lit only by a candle and the soft strains of careless whisper. The old man sat on the bed in his briefs, rose petals scattered around. "Good evening, dear," he greeted, his voice tinged with excitement. "Good evening, Mr. Robert," Sarah replied, forcing a smile. She approached quietly, noticing he held a wine glass in one hand and a rosary in the other. "I'm ready," he said, closing his eyes. "Do what you need to do." Sarah's neck burned with unease, as if her own kindness was choking her. She knew it was wrong, but she was already there, with no way out. As she lifted the hem of the dress, revealing her white underwear, her hands trembled. Then she caught sight of an old picture frame on the dresser, Liam, Mary, and Robert. "I can't do this," she cried out, tears streaming. "It's your son I love." Robert's eyes snapped open. He stood, quickly pulling on a robe. Wait, you're Sarah, my son's girl." Sarah nodded, trembling with shame. Robert sat back on the bed, sighing deeply. "Forgive me," he said. "I didn't know. I won't bother you. Nothing will happen between us." Their eyes met, no longer with desire, but with understanding. "But we need to pretend," Robert whispered, "to stop their nagging. Let's put on a show." Sarah nodded, and before leaving the room, she fixed her hair and wiped her tears. The next morning, the news exploded. "Why does your room smell like perfume, Robert?" Mary shouted. "Therapy session." The old man grinned. "Man, that massage was amazing. My back's never felt better." "You actually did it," Liam yelled, his face darkening with rage. Robert nodded. "Think you're the only man in this family?" But behind their anger, imaginations ran wild. Mary pictured her husband caressing Sarah, oil glistening on her curves, soft moans in the background. Liam imagined his girlfriend in his father's arms, breathless with each sway, the old man's hands on her waist. In reality, Sarah was quietly reading Robert a book in his room. The Legend of the Firefly. No kisses, no touches. Yet, in the family's eyes, a steamy late-night movie was unfolding. Even the housekeeper stared at Sarah whenever she left the room, as if she'd just come from a scandalous encounter. That night, in Robert's room, all was quiet. Under the blanket, he munched on a candy bar. All it took was a little drama, he whispered to himself. This mess is so entertaining. Meanwhile, Liam watched Sarah walk down the hallway in her white uniform, fragrant and doe-eyed. In his mind, jealousy stabbed at him again, and behind it all, an old man smirked at his secret plan. Nothing had happened, but in everyone's minds, something had. "What did you say?" "You had a therapy session?" Mary nearly choked on her tea. Her earring fell in shock, and the wrinkles on her forehead seemed to deepen. "Yes, Mary, it was amazing. So relaxing for my joints," Robert said, rubbing his neck as if freshly massaged. Sarah stayed silent, her head bowed, knees trembling. She didn't want to relive last night, or the nothing that had happened, but the weight of the mother and son's imaginations crushed her. "Sarah, don't tell me you went through with it," Liam said, his eyes blazing with jealousy, anger, and fear that his father had outdone him. "No, Liam, nothing happened, nothing at all." But no matter how Sarah explained, Liam's imagination wouldn't stop. In his mind, he saw his father lifting Sarah's dress, kneading her curves, smelling her hair. Liam shook his head. "You shouldn't have given in, Sarah. You shouldn't have done it," he muttered fiercely, unaware if anyone heard. Before Sarah could respond, Robert cut in. "Maybe you want a round two, dear." "My shoulder's still sore. You could swing by tonight. Bring that lavender oil." Sarah paled. Liam shrank further, and Mary stood, eyes wide. "You're a disgrace, Robert. No respect for yourself or this family." She flung a wet dish towel at his head, but Robert just smiled. "Sorry, I'm just having fun." That night Sarah couldn't rest. Sitting on her bed's edge, she clutched her phone, rereading Liam's text. "Please, love, do it again. Indulge him, even just a little." She closed her eyes and sighed heavily. "Will this become a routine?" she asked herself. She stood and put on a light blue uniform, more conservative this time. But no matter what she wore, people's gazes felt different, as if every move she made carried a moan or a suppressed gasp. When she knocked on Robert's door, it opened instantly. The old man wore a robe, holding a mug of hot milk. "Ah, nurse, my favorite medicine," he chuckled, sitting in a recliner. "Ready, dear?" "My shoulder's tight. Feels like something stuck." Sarah didn't flinch. She approached, gently massaging his shoulder while thinking of other things, duty, patience, dreams, anything to escape this absurd situation. "Your hands are so soft, Sarah," Robert murmured, almost teasingly. "Like velvet." Sarah bit her lip, unsure whether to laugh or cry. But before the scene deepened, a camera flash startled them. Sarah froze. Robert turned to the door, where Liam stood, phone in hand, trembling. "What are you doing?" he shouted. "I needed to see what's really going on." "Liam!" Sarah nearly screamed. "You don't trust me anymore. Do you want me to feel like a paid woman?" "Hold on," Robert interjected, covering himself. "Son, didn't you hear it's just a massage?" But Liam seemed lost in his rage. He grabbed Sarah and pulled her out of the room. "From now on, you're not coming back here. You don't have to put up with my father anymore." Sarah looked at Robert, who had a trace of sadness in his eyes, not for himself, but for her. "Liam, you don't understand," Robert said softly. "She's the only one who cared for me. Even when I was at my worst, she didn't turn away." Liam paused, head bowed. "Is that true, Sarah?" She wiped a tear from her eye. "I did this for you, Liam, but I'm hurting now. It feels like I'm always the one adjusting, like you're using me for your own goals." Liam couldn't respond. Silence fell, as if all the nonsense had turned and crashed down on him. The next day, it was as if nothing had happened. Robert sat on a porch swing, sipping black coffee. Mary scrubbed laundry, her forehead creased. Liam hadn't left his room, and Sarah had left the house without a word. But unbeknownst to them, Sarah left an envelope for Robert. Inside was a letter with simple words. "Thank you for understanding. Amid all this, I saw the quiet heart of a father. Don't end your life, Mr. Robert. You still have many to make happy, and not just in bed." Robert smiled as he read it, then tore it up and let the pieces scatter in the wind, whispering, "Women really are the best at reminding me I still have a heart." From his bedroom window, Liam watched it all. He didn't know if he was regretful, confused, or just lost. But one thing was clear. This wasn't just a show anymore. It was slowly becoming a tragedy he could no longer control. "Where's Sarah?" Liam shouted as he descended the stairs. No voice came from the kitchen, living room, or backyard. Just the faint crow of a neighbor's rooster, lost in time. "She's gone," Mary called, scrubbing a pot. "Didn't you hear yesterday? She left." Liam clutched his temple. His throat was dry, his chest squeezed. Sarah was gone, and with her, the future he thought he had in his grasp, blurred. In the backyard, Robert sat on the swing, breathing fresh air, a cigar in one hand and a comic book in the other. "You didn't even try to stop her," he said as Liam approached. "Why should I chase her? Was I the one who acted like a creep?" "You didn't protect her," Robert replied. "You pushed her in that direction, and now you're the one angry." Robert took a deep breath before speaking again. Sometimes happiness isn't found in bed. It's in gratitude, respect, and understanding. He patted Liam's shoulder. "If you don't get that, maybe you're still too young." As the sun set, a black car pulled up in front of the house. A woman stepped out, dressed in a short skirt and a maroon blazer, holding a clipboard. "Good afternoon. I'm attorney Felicia Sanders," she introduced herself. "I'm here to submit the draft of Mr. Robert S. Allen's living will." Liam's eyes widened. "Will? Are you dying?" "We're all headed there, Liam," Robert said, rubbing his arthritic knee. "I just want to ensure the inheritance is settled and everything goes to the right name." Liam sat down. "Dad, who did you name as heir?" Robert smiled, looked at the sky, and said slowly, "Sarah." The word hit Liam like a bomb. "What? Her? Why her?" "Because she showed me true care. She didn't ask for anything in return. She's not like you." Liam slumped in a chair, head spinning. "You can't do this, Dad." "I already am, son." Inside the house, Robert called Attorney Sanders. "Felicia, finalize the document. Make it effective once it's sent to Sarah's address." The lawyer nodded. "I have her new workplace address at a nursing home in Colorado Springs." Liam fell silent. Colorado Springs, far, cold, perfect for retirement. That night, Liam paced outside the house. He noticed the light on in Sarah's old room. He entered. The bed was neat, and on it lay a small notebook. He opened it. A diary. "I don't know if what I'm doing is still right, but if this is the way to keep Liam in my heart, I'll do it. Mr. Robert, he has a kind heart too. A tenderness that's not crude but caring. I want to leave because I feel like I'm being used in these men's game." Tears fell from Liam's eyes. He realized he hadn't just hurt Sarah. He'd consumed her with his own lies. The next day, Robert packed his clothes. "I'm going to Colorado Springs," he announced. "To visit Sarah?" Mary asked, avoiding his gaze. "Number I'm moving there. I chose to volunteer at the nursing home where she works. That's where I want to spend my remaining years. Far from chaos, close to peace, and if allowed, near someone who didn't see me as a dirty old man." Mary was stunned, unsure whether to be angry or cry. "Don't worry, Mary. I won't cause her trouble. I just want to know there's still someone willing to listen to me, even when you all laugh." Music. Before leaving, he handed Liam an envelope. "Read this when you're ready." Robert left, leaving a house that felt lifeless, silent, no shouting. When Liam opened the envelope, it contained a single photo of Sarah pushing an old man in a wheelchair. On the back, it read, "True warmth comes not from the body, but from the heart that understands." He stared at the ceiling, letting out a deep, quiet sigh. In Colorado Springs, as light rain fell and the freshly mopped floor of the nursing home gleamed, Sarah was busy tending to an elderly man complaining about his oatmeal's taste. "This is too bland," Worthless, he grumbled, but when she turned, Robert's familiar smile greeted her. But if you're the one feeding me, I'd eat it even if it's spoiled. Sarah smiled. Here you go again, Mr. Robert. I'm serious, dear. I'm finally here and I hope I can still be part of your life, even just a little. Colorado Springs, huh? Mary exclaimed, sitting on a porch rocking chair, a sack of green apples by her waist. He's moving there? Yeah, Liam replied, tears welling but hidden behind a smile. Imagine that, Ma. He really followed Sarah. Mary bit her lip, unsure if she felt jealousy or deep annoyance at her husband's sudden youthful spirit. That Robert's got some nerve. Thinks he's Romeo, he's old, all dust and bones. After Liam left, Mary sat alone in the living room. Quiet, but in her mind, a journey of imagination began. She pictured Robert in the nursing home, wearing a white polo with a candy bar in the pocket, under a pine tree. Sarah wiped sweat from his brow, kneeling. Robert, Sarah said, I love you, even if you smell like Bengay. Robert leaned in, gently holding her neck, running his fingers through her hair. No more Mary, no more Liam, just us. Under the tree, Sarah shed her uniform, revealing her undergarments. Robert caressed her thigh. Sarah moaned. Mary snapped back, accidentally stepping on the cat. Don't just pop up like that, you mangy thing, she yelped, sweating. What kind of imagination was that? Meanwhile, Liam walked through a farmer's market with his friend Mark. Dude, Mark said, is it true about your dad and Sarah? Something happen? Liam shook his head. Nothing, supposedly. But I don't know what's real anymore. When I think about it, scenes replay in my head, like lotion sliding down Sarah's chest as Dad rubs it in, or him kissing her while pinning her against the bedroom wall. Whoa! Mark whistled. If that were me, I'd have thrown your dad off a cliff. What's worse is he seems to brag about it. Liam returned home, carrying eggs, bread, and fresh donuts. But he didn't realize that, in his silence, fantasies were slowly consuming his mind. In his imagination, Sarah entered Robert's room in a pink nightgown, holding a damp cloth. She applied lotion to the old man's thighs. Still sore, Mr. Robert? Right there, dear, right there. He kissed her hand, caressed her waist, and Sarah unhooked her bra with a smile, as if saying, This is just for you. Suddenly, the cat knocked over a glass of juice, startling Liam. Damn it! He shouted, throwing a rag. Even the animals are showing me ghosts of debauchery. While the mother and son drowned in their fantasies, Robert swept the nursing home's courtyard. Hey, Mr. Robert, a staff member called. You've got a visitor. He turned and saw Sarah with a watermelon, a picnic blanket, and a thermos of tea. Just passing by, thought you might want a snack, she said. Robert smiled and sat in a chair beside his hammock. You never lose your charm, dear. Girls today are all about phones. You, watermelon and tea. I prefer talking to people with life experience, Sarah said. Robert grinned. You mean I'm fun to talk to? Honestly, yes. They laughed together. No lewdness in the scene, but to onlookers, every glance, every sip of tea, every bite of watermelon seemed suspicious. Back at the house. Liam, Mary said, scrubbing laundry. Don't deny it. You're jealous, aren't you? I'm not jealous, Ma. Just pissed. You're jealous because you know at some point Sarah loved your father. Not as an old man, but as a man. Liam sat down. No way Sarah could love Dad. I'm her boyfriend. Son, with all our craziness, you might not have noticed you've lost your claim to her heart. Liam fell silent, holding an old family photo, his dad, his mom, and Sarah. Only then did he recall how it all began. Sarah, always quiet, always attentive. Despite the family's crudeness, she stayed. But now that joy was slipping away. In Colorado Springs, before the day ended, Robert and Sarah walked through the nursing home's garden. "Thank you, Sarah," Robert said. "For what, sir?" "For understanding me, for peace, and for the tea," Sarah chuckled. "I wish all gossip ended like this, clean and calm." "Can I ask something?" Robert glanced at her. "Do I have even a tiny place in your heart?" Sarah paused, looking at the sky, listening to the crickets. "Sometimes," she said, "love isn't always romantic, but it can still be real." That night, under the stars, they did nothing but talk. But back at the house, as Liam flipped through Sarah's diary, a page stood out. "When I got away, I realized I might not be able to leave him, even if he's old. He's the only one who showed me care without using it as a weapon." Liam knelt, closing his eyes in the dark, consumed by jealousy and regret. "Why can't you just be at peace, Liam?" Mary asked, clipping her nails in the living room as her son stared at Sarah's old phone, hoping for a message to undo everything. "I don't know, Ma," Liam said, eyes hollow. "This hurts more than a breakup, like I handed her over." "Not just that," Mary added. "Your inheritance too. Word from Attorney Sanders is your dad signed over all the titles. They're being sent to Sarah." Liam felt like he'd been struck by lightning. "What? Everything? The house? The land? The shares in the co-op? Even that old pickup truck?" He shut his eyes, neck cold. "This can't end like this. I have to make it right." Meanwhile, in Colorado Springs, Robert was happily watering ferns in the nursing home's garden. "Nice breeze today, Mr. Robert?" Sarah asked, bringing a freshly laundered blanket. "It's nice, but it's nicer with someone as lovely and fragrant as you." Sarah smiled, shaking her head. "You never stop, do you?" "Why would I?" "Even at my age, I still feel a spark when I see you." That night, as Robert rested on the veranda, a staff member approached with a phone. "Sir, your son sent a video you should see." When it played, Liam appeared, sitting in the living room, face serious. "Dad, I want you to know I've started auditing your estate. And yes, I'm investigating Sarah. I've found things. If I prove she's using you, I'll have her locked up myself." Robert's eyes widened, not in fear, but in amusement. "Here we go," he whispered. "The show's starting." The next day, he spoke to Sarah under a tree. "Sarah, I have a plan." What plan?" she asked, voice uneasy. "Let's pretend we're falling for each other. Spread it on social media. Just one selfie with a caption. No age limit on love. Add a hashtag. #JustShucks Forever Young." Sarah's eyes widened. "Why would we do that?" "To get back at him. He thinks he's so righteous, but he's just as manipulative. I want him to feel his own jealousy and maybe wake up." Sarah paused, then smiled. "All right, I'm in." And so the show began. A selfie with Robert holding Sarah's hand under a table. A short video of Sarah feeding him a banana in slow motion. Caption, "Still got it as a senior." It went viral instantly. Many were annoyed, many laughed, but one person seethed, Liam. "What kind of depravity is this?" he yelled, showing Mary the video. "Sarah!" he shouted, throwing a pillow. "Why didn't you choose me? Why trade me for an old man?" "I told you, son," Mary said, sipping coffee. "Sarah's got a thing for that old man, but to be fair, they look good on camera, like a soap opera." "This isn't a joke, Ma. I need to see her." And so Liam went to Colorado Springs, carrying anger, jealousy, and a plan to expose Sarah's lies, if any. At the nursing home, he stormed the admin office. "I'm looking for Sarah Santos. She's a nurse here and I'm her boyfriend." The receptionist corrected him. Ex-boyfriend? According to her Facebook status. Liam felt like cold soup had been dumped on him. He walked to the veranda and saw them, Sarah and Robert, laughing while blowing bubbles. Dad! He shouted. Stop this madness. Robert turned. Son, how's our acting? Acting? Sarah stood. Yes, Liam. It's all a show. Your dad wanted to wake you up. But why did my heart get caught in it? Because you ignored us then. You played me, used me. But when I took the spotlight, only then did you notice. Liam clutched his chest. Sarah, I still love you. Before he could approach, Robert stepped in. Now, son, you listen. Not everything you think is yours truly is, and not every woman will repeat her mistakes. Liam cried. What am I now? A young man with an old dad who's cooler than you. Robert winked. The next day, Liam returned to Denver, quiet and humiliated. Meanwhile, at the nursing home, it was Sunday morning. Sarah served oatmeal to Robert. Add an egg, will ya? He teased. What's that for? She asked. To keep me strong for the next performance. Sarah shook her head. You're something else, sir. No wonder women can't resist you. Robert grinned. They don't want guys like me, but they can't forget me. They laughed together. Liam didn't know where to begin. In his room, he lay sprawled on the bed, steeped in darkness. The window was shut, curtains drawn, only the cold air from a fan stirring the room. His phone was wet with tears, or maybe sweat. He couldn't tell. He stared at Sarah's latest post, 2 hands clasped, captioned, Not all old folks are washed up. Some still have spice. He felt choked by his own envy, not just envy, but regret and self-blame. I still love you, Sarah, he whispered, but why choose an old man over me? In Colorado Springs, freshly showered, Sarah wore a crisp white uniform, smelling of fabric softener. As she walked the nursing home's halls, staff couldn't help but glance. Mr. Robert's so lucky, a janitor whispered. If I were him, I'd fake sick just to have Sarah care for me daily. Sarah smiled but didn't stop. She was used to playful, cheeky remarks. More importantly, she was content with the place's calm, far from chaos, far from the past. On the veranda, Robert sat in a floral shirt and reading glasses, engrossed in a crossword puzzle. Good morning, sir, Sarah greeted, setting out a napkin and juice. Morning, Sarah. You look great in that uniform, but you'd look better in a wedding dress. Sarah laughed. At this rate, I might never marry. Maybe I'll just wed you. I'm game, Robert said. But it'll be a simple wedding, under a tree, with barbecue, ice cream, and the reception in our room. Our room, huh? Sarah teased, smiling. They locked eyes briefly, no crudeness, no malice, but a hint of something deeper. Was it affection? Courtship? Back in Denver, as Mary washed dishes, she noticed Liam on the balcony, lost in thought. Son, why haven't you gone back to work? No motivation, Ma. Everything I built up just vanished. Sarah, Dad, the inheritance. Mary sat beside him. If you can't reclaim the past, don't let resentment consume you. The world won't stop for your pain. I just want to know, Ma, Liam said, tearing up. What if she still loves me? What if she's using Dad to get back at me? Mary didn't answer immediately, but her next words struck Liam's heart. If she still loves you, she'll return. But if she loves peace more than you, that's your answer. That night in Colorado Springs, as Robert lay in bed, Sarah read him a story. A knock interrupted them. Mr. Robert, a staff member said, you have a visitor. They exchanged glances. Who? Robert asked. He says he's your son, Liam, and won't leave until he talks to you. When the door opened, Liam stood there in jeans and a black hoodie, holding a box of pastries and a bouquet of daisies. Dad, he said softly. Can we talk? Robert nodded quietly, inviting him to the veranda. Sarah followed but stayed at a distance. I don't know where to start, Liam began, but I know I was a jerk. I used Sarah. I used you. and when I lost, only then did I feel it all. Robert sighed. Dad, I don't want to lose her. Even if you're old, even if you're more deserving, I'm your son. Do I still have a chance? Robert glanced at Sarah, who nodded and slowly joined them. Liam, Sarah said, we were together. I loved you. But when you pushed me toward your father, I realized you might not have loved me, just the inheritance and your own ambitions. That's not true, Liam interrupted. But you didn't deny it then. You didn't fight for me. Silence fell, broken only by crickets and Robert's sigh. Now, Liam, Robert added, you don't need to prove anything, but if you want to start over, do it for yourself, not for me, not for Sarah. Liam knelt before them. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm sorry, Sarah. For a moment, no words were spoken, but then the home speaker crackled. Dinner's ready, oatmeal with eggs. Finish the pot roast. The three exchanged looks and laughed. I'm starving, Robert said. Let's eat together. In Robert's room, dinner ended. As Sarah wiped him with a warm towel, they spoke again. Mr. Robert, Sarah said, now that Liam's here, what's your plan? Nothing, he replied. I just wanted to see if he could apologize. But do you feel anything for me? Robert looked at her. Do you? Sarah laughed. Question for a question. If I feel something, it's not romantic, but it's still real. Robert smiled, closed his eyes, and said softly, I never meant to love you, but I don't regret it. That night, there were no immoral acts, no daring scenes, just pure silence, morning in Colorado Springs. Sarah rose early, cleaning the veranda. She noticed Robert hadn't come down yet. Usually by 7, he'd be in the hammock with coffee. Still sleeping? She asked a staff member. No, Mom. His door's locked. He doesn't want to be disturbed. Sarah knocked. Mr. Robert, you okay? No answer, then faint footsteps and a voice. Just a sec, dear. I'm in my boxers. Sarah laughed, but unease lingered. Why was Robert avoiding her? He'd been quiet for days, less joking, as if planning something. That night they met in the home's library, where Robert often read to escape gossiping staff playing bingo. Mr. Robert, Sarah said, I've noticed you seem deep in thought. He looked at her, his smile slow, carrying a secret. I had a visitor earlier, came in through the back. A visitor? Robert nodded. A lawyer brought documents you won't like. Sarah froze. What documents? Last will and testament, revised, and a non-disclosure agreement. Sarah's neck chilled. Why? Trust is hard these days. I don't want you saying I used you or vice versa. But nothing happened between us. Robert smiled. But in many people's minds, something did. My son, my wife, the staff here, they all think we're up to something every night. Sarah laughed. With your flirting, who wouldn't? But come on, you think I'd fall for that? Exactly, Robert said. It's fun being the star of everyone's imagination. Meanwhile, Liam returned to Denver but wasn't done. He stalked Sarah online nightly, and one evening he found something unexpected. A private message from an old acquaintance, Laura, his dad's ex, and a former caregiver for his aunt. Hi, Liam. Saw your dad with that young nurse. Weird, right? He used to pull this on me too. Charms younger women to include them in his will. Liam frowned. He hadn't expected another woman to have heard the same drama from his father. Maybe he's just using her to rile you up. Liam felt doused in cold water. Was his dad really doing this for his ego? That night, as Robert got another massage from Sarah, he whispered, Sarah, I have a question. If I leave tomorrow, will you miss me? Why? Because despite your teasing, you're the only one who made me feel respected in the weirdest way. Maybe I love weirdly too. They locked eyes, quiet but warm. Then Liam burst in. Hey! Robert and Sarah jumped. Liam stood at the door, holding an envelope. Do you know who this is, Sarah? He waved the paper. This is a letter from Laura, Dad's ex. He fed her the same drama. Will, love, promises. Old trick, Dad. What do you mean? Sarah asked, stepping closer. You made Laura a victim too, and maybe you used me to control Sarah. Robert stood, silent. Son, he said firmly, not every past is a sin. Sometimes we repeat what we know, but it's not right. You can't keep deceiving people, Dad, Liam said. Sarah teared up. Is this true? Robert nodded. Yes, but you're the first I didn't force, didn't bribe, didn't promise. You're the only real one. Silence fell. If you think I used you both, I'm sorry, Robert added, but if you learn from my mess, maybe it's not all bad. The next day, as Robert packed, Sarah approached. Leaving already? Not yet. Why? One more story, the final act. Is this a movie? Number. But I want to end the show I directed. Sarah smiled. Fine, but if you break my heart again, I'm reporting you to the admin. That won't happen, dear. From now on, no more shows will sprout between us. In a hallway corner, Liam stood silent, wondering if true regret lay at the end, or if another chapter awaited. From afar, the nursing home staff thought Sarah was the same, smiling, cheerful, gentle. But Marissa, the nosiest nurse by the oxygen tank room, noticed something. You know, she whispered to Nurse Ellen, Sarah's different now. She's not the type to just follow anymore. She's commanding. They weren't the only ones who noticed. Robert himself did. As Sarah read aloud from an English storybook, her sudden silence caught his attention. You okay, dear? Sarah stopped, closed the book, and walked to the window, gazing at the clouds. Mr. Robert, I've changed. When I started here, I thought I was the pitiful nurse, always obeying, believing everything, but that's not how it should be. Why say that? Because my boyfriend used me, and maybe an old man who lies with tenderness is using me too. Robert smiled, though it stung. Am I included in that? I don't know. That's why I need to find answers. Maybe I love you, or maybe I'm just caught in your act. In another room, Liam plugged a USB into Robert's laptop while he was away. He had a copy of Laura's email and an audio file of a conversation. Rod, just use your drama. It's effective. Pretend you're dying. It worked on me before. A notification pinged. File copied successfully. Tomorrow, Liam whispered, the truth comes out. That night, as Sarah and Robert sipped coffee on the veranda, Liam arrived with a laptop, projector, and whiteboard labeled Operation Unmask. Dad, Sarah, it's time for the truth. Oh my, a staff member whispered. This is like a K-drama. Sarah turned to Liam. What are you planning? I'm just showing the truth for all three of us so no one's left in the dark. Liam plugged in the USB. An email appeared. To Liam Allen from Laura Rivers. Subject, Robert strikes. Then the audio played. Everyone heard Laura and Robert joking about his style years ago. This isn't a joke, Liam shouted. Sarah, you think you're the only one special to Dad? He used his drama, his pain, on another woman he fooled. Silence fell. Mr. Robert, Sarah said, is this all true? Robert nodded. My past is true, but that doesn't mean I'm still that man. Yes, I used drama then, but with you, I got tired of lying for the first time. They locked eyes. Why drag me into your mess? Sarah asked. Because I believed that amidst all the lies, one truth might resurface. Sarah approached Liam. And you think you're the only one who can investigate? She pulled a paper from her pocket and showed it to everyone. Before all this, I ran a background check. Guess who Laura really is? She switched the projector slide. A photo of Laura with Liam from college appeared. The truth is, Laura wasn't just Dad's ex, she was your ex. You two schemed against Mr. Robert for the inheritance. Liam's jaw dropped. How did you? I'm a woman. I know when I'm being messed with, used or dragged into a fight I didn't start. The father and son exchanged glances, both defeated. Now, Sarah said, I'm not taking sides, but it's clear to me. I'm done being naive. The days of following blindly are over. She stood. If you want to end this, do it, but I'm leaving. I'm transferring to the branch in Boise. Sarah, they called, but she didn't look back. The next day, Sarah was gone. No morning coffee for Robert, no lively voice on the veranda, just rain on the window as Liam glanced at Sarah's diary. One page read, I don't know if I love him, because he's old or because he's the only one who taught me to stand up. For the first time, Liam and Robert ate breakfast together. Quiet, no blame, no shouting. Dad, what's your plan now? Liam asked. Maybe Boise, but not to follow her. For what? To rediscover myself in a place where no one knows me. In Boise, as Sarah made her new bed in her new room, a message pinged on her phone. You're not the only one we lost. We lost too. R. She smiled but didn't reply. Yet in her heart, a faint beat lingered, not naive, but true. The Boise air was different from Colorado Springs. Colder, quieter, further from the scandals Sarah left behind. But despite the chill, her eyes still held warmth, not anger, but fatigue, not resentment, but reflection. While feeding soup to an elderly patient, a staff member approached with a brown envelope. Ma'am Sarah, this came for you. No sender, but an old man dropped it off. Well-dressed, hat, smells nice. Sarah frowned, opening it. Inside was a handwritten letter and an old photo of her smiling while reading to Robert, a candid shot she hadn't noticed. She read the letter. Sarah, if you're reading this, my dream came true, that one day, a woman who changed my story won't forget me. I have nothing left to boast about, not a will, not drama. But if anything remains, it's the memory of nights we talked like we weren't generations apart. I'm sorry for being part of your unspoken nightmares, and thank you for your silence, which let me hear my own shortcomings. If I see you again, even briefly, I'll bring only myself. If not, I hope you write me in your memories as a man who was once real, even if others think I'm worthless. Robert. Sarah paused, folded the letter, and tucked it in her pocket. She didn't know whether to laugh, be annoyed, or cry. In Denver, Liam faced the mirror, clean-shaven, freshly trimmed, holding a job offer from an NGO, a role far from money, but close to principles. Ma, he said over breakfast, I'm applying as a community worker in Montana. Mary nearly dropped her spoon with egg. Montana? That's far. Chasing Sarah? That's the point, Ma. I shouldn't chase her. I need to find myself. For me, not her. Son, you've really grown, Mary said, resuming her meal. In Boise, as Sarah tended to a patient, a volunteer entered, wearing a sweater, carrying medical kits, and smiling. Sarah nearly dropped her tray. Mr. Robert, she said. The old man grinned. Just me, volunteering. What are you doing here? I wanted to be with the woman who taught me to be honest, even in old age. Sarah fell silent. In her eyes, she saw a quieter, humbler Robert than the one in Colorado Springs. The staff might think there's another scandal, she teased. Don't worry, I'm a senior. No energy for scandals. They laughed. Days passed, and Robert became a volunteer at the Boise home, brewing coffee, entertaining patients, even cooking stew when the kitchen was short-staffed. But his favorite was reading time with Sarah. I like this chapter, Sarah said, reading an old novel. The part where the leads, despite hurting each other, choose to help one another. Like us? Robert asked, not sure but close. One night, while Sarah cleaned the records room, she found an old logbook with handwritten notes from past volunteers. On one page, a new entry. If I don't wake tomorrow, I want it known I was happy here, not because I loved someone, but because someone forgave me. The next day, the home was eerily quiet. No chatter on the veranda, no noise in the garden. Sarah felt a sudden pang of fear. She ran to Robert's room. Opening the door, she found him sleeping soundly, calm, almost childlike. She approached, stethoscope in hand, and gently placed it on his chest. The heartbeat was there, slow but steady. She smiled, took his hand, and whispered, "Thank you. You didn't give up on me, even when I tried." For the first time, she returned an embrace, not out of need, but from a learned acceptance. Not a sweet love, but a love hard to categorize, one that didn't need to be right or wrong, just felt. "What did you say?" Mary nearly dropped her chair when she heard from Marissa, a former colleague at the nursing home. "Robert's still in Boise?" "Yes, ma'am, volunteering there." "And that nurse we talked about is there too." Mary felt a twinge of jealousy rise under her apron. "So what? He's free to do what he wants." "Sure, but doesn't it hurt? 42 years married, Nana." Mary didn't answer right away. After hanging up, she went to her room and opened a trunk, pulling out old photos of her and Robert, their wedding day, her in a white dress, him thinner, but just as dramatic. "If you want to play Romeo in the mountains, Robert, here's your Juliet. I won't lose easily." Days later, a white van stopped at the Boise nursing home. Mary stepped out, wearing her best floral blouse, a touch of lipstick. "Excuse me," she said to the receptionist. "Is Robert S. Allen here?" "Ma'am, he's volunteering in the garden area." "Is that so?" Mary asked, standing tall. In the backyard, Robert watered plants while Sarah wiped sweat from her brow. "Mr. Robert, it's scorching today, like summer in hell." "If it's just heat, dear, it's nothing compared to your temper." Sarah giggled, but a voice interrupted. "So you're the ones heating things up?" Robert's eyes widened. "Mary, my wife!" "Thought I wouldn't hear, huh? Me and the neighbors are watching you on Facebook. You're practically viral here." Sarah turned. "Ma'am Mary, I—" But Mary stopped her. "Don't speak yet. I'm not done." She sat on a stone bench, took a deep breath. "Robert, I didn't come to fight. I just want to ask, do you still love me?" Robert fell silent. Their eyes met, not like before, but like two people trying to reclaim something they'd neglected. "I don't know," he said, "but in all this mess, you're still the first I think of when I'm in trouble." "But aren't I also the first you hurt when there's a new woman?" Robert shrugged. "Yes, but you're the only one I called wife, and no matter how many times I wander at midnight, I'll always come home to you." Silence fell. Sarah quietly excused herself, giving them space, the two from her past who taught her her worth. In the common room, the couple sipped coffee. Quiet, no theatrics, no jabs. "Your coffee's still good, Mary. You taught me how to brew it." Mary looked out the window. "You know, Robert, I don't regret loving you, but I'm tired of your craziness." "I'm tired too, Mary, but guess who gave me rest?" "Who?" "Sarah. You're with her now?" "Not like that. She gave me peace, but you're my home." That night, a dinner on the veranda featured Sarah serving vegetable stew. The air held a strange tension. "Want the truth, Mary?" Robert asked, chewing green beans. "Depends if you'll stop lying." Nothing happened with Sarah, but in my mind I hoped. I thought if my own wife couldn't take me, maybe someone else would listen. Why think I wasn't listening? Robert froze, as if doused in cold water. Days later, Mary volunteered at the home, teaching seniors simple dances, cooking peach cobbler, and organizing a prayer group. "Ma'am Mary," a patient said, "good thing you came? Mr. Robert's been lighter since you arrived." She glanced at Robert, applying Vicks to a feverish elderly man. "Me too," she whispered. "I feel lighter in the garden." Sarah and Mary talked while watering plants. "Mom, I just want to say thank you." "For what?" "For coming back, for not being angry, for accepting." "I'm not mad at you, Sarah. I'm mad at myself for letting him love you in a way I couldn't. He didn't love me fully, but he taught me not to be a fool." "Then we're even," Mary said. "He gave us both a lesson." They laughed. One night, as Mary and Robert walked along the veranda, Mary asked, "If Sarah hadn't been here, would you have come back to me?" "If she wasn't here, I might not have learned to know myself again to have something to bring back to you." They didn't embrace or kiss, but in the cold night they entered together, not as husband and wife, but as two ready to start anew. The Boise sky was overcast, as if the breeze whispered a warning. In the nursing home's quiet, a van stopped at the gate. Liam stepped out, carrying a brown envelope and a resolute stance. Entering the main hall, he approached the receptionist. "Can I see Mr. Robert S. Allen?" "Sir, he's in a meeting with Ma'am Mary and the legal team." "Legal team?" Liam frowned, heading to the conference room. There he saw his father, Mary, and a female lawyer with a folder. "What's going on?" he nearly shouted. "Son," Robert said calmly, "we're just finalizing papers." "Final papers?" Liam slammed his envelope on the table. "Well, I've got a statement you can't ignore." Everyone exchanged glances. Liam pulled out a document. "This is my right as your son, as legal heir, not just on paper, but because I'm the one who should be trusted." "Liam!" Mary interrupted. "Listen first." "No, Ma, I know what I'm doing." He stood. "As your son, I object to any assignment of property, business, or land to some nurse, ex, or whoever's warming Dad's heart. It can't go to people who are just part of a fleeting chapter in his life." The room fell silent. Robert took a deep breath. "Son, haven't you considered I'm giving it to others because I know you don't need it?" "Are you mocking me, Dad? It hurts more to hear that what I worked for is just inheritance to you, not memories." Sarah, who'd been at the back, stepped forward. "Liam," she said calmly, "I never asked for anything. I never wanted the inheritance. If Mr. Robert gives it to someone else, that's his choice. But don't turn this into a greed contest over something you didn't fight for then." "Easy for you to say. You're the nurse who provided therapy, right?" Sarah fell silent. Mary stood. "Son, you're going too far. Haven't you thought you might have been used too? You're in Boise now, but when was the last time Dad talked to you before he left us?" "You know, Liam," Mary continued, "I came with Robert. I can forgive all your faults, but I can't forgive your inability to accept things you can't control." That night on the veranda, Robert and Mary sipped coffee quietly. "He's back to his old self," Mary said. "Liam, always throwing tantrums when he doesn't get his way." "Know why?" Robert asked. "He's scared of losing, because he already felt he lost you, and he felt he lost me too." Mary looked at her husband. "Yet here we are now." "Yes, but not because our son chose us, but because we chose each other, even if we're not the same as before." In a nearby hallway, Sarah wiped down a clinic table, piecing herself back together, questioning if staying in the lives of two people who were once her world was still right. A knock came. Opening the door, she saw Liam with a small box. What do you need?" she asked softly. "I want to return this." He handed her the box. Inside was a silver bracelet he'd given her during their first months, engraved with "For Us." "Why return it?" because I thought you'd choose me. I thought I was still your world. Sarah looked at the bracelet. You didn't lose, Liam. You let me go. Liam fell silent. I still love you. I can accept that, but it doesn't mean we can go back. Liam nodded. I know, but I just wanted to say it, even once, without you kicking me out. Sarah smiled. I'm not kicking you out, but you can't stay either. Liam walked away, holding his dignity, but with a slight relief in speaking the truth. The next day, Robert called the legal team, removing the clause assigning inheritance to Sarah. Why do this? The lawyer asked. Because she didn't ask for it, and if she doesn't ask, she's the only one truly deserving. In the director's office, Sarah was summoned. Ma'am, Mr. Robert left a confidential letter for you. She read it. Sarah, of all the wills I've made, this is the only true one. The most valuable thing you left me is the time you didn't judge me, but I can't repay that with money, a house, or land. I want you to know, even if it's not on paper, you're still the one my heart chose, and I still hope. Thank you, Sarah. Sometimes you made me feel young again. Robert. Sarah closed her eyes. Sometimes memories are enough, but since they're all still alive, there's a chance to make new ones. Morning at the Boise home. Hot coffee, cool breeze. In the conference room, the Allen family sat. Robert, Mary, Liam. Sarah was there, quiet at the side. Why make this so formal? Liam asked, frowning. Can't it just be a talk? I don't live on simple talks anymore, Robert said, wiping his reading glasses. If my family's always chaotic, this might be my last chance to make things clear. Attorney Felicia Sanders entered, the same lawyer from before, with a black folder. Good morning, everyone, she began. We're here for the formal declaration of Mr. Robert S. Allen's updated last will and testament. Liam stood. Attorney, hold on. Isn't this decided? Liam, Robert chided. Listen first. Felicia glanced at Sarah, then opened the document. The new will no longer designates a specific heir for all assets. Instead, the entire estate will be placed in a community trust fund for this nursing home. Liam's eyes widened. What does that mean? It means, Robert said, none of you get a dime because it'll go to helping old folks like me. Mary stood. Am I included in that? All of us, Mary. We're all old. It's time we help our kind. The staff in the room applauded. Sarah stayed quiet, a faint smile on her lips. Not for money, but for principle. But why? Liam asked again. No share for family? There is, Robert said. Memories. Everything I built, I didn't take to bed at night. What remained was our laughter, our fights, your love, even when I was crazy. He looked at Sarah. And you, Sarah, I know you don't want any part, so I'm even surer you're deserving, but I won't give it to you. Everyone, including Sarah, was shocked. I won't give it to you because I want you free. I won't repeat the mistake of buying women's feelings with wealth. Mr. Robert, Sarah said softly. He nodded. But I'll leave you a letter. I don't know when you'll read it, but I hope when you do, you'll remember why, even at the end, you're still on my mind. Afterward, Liam left, as if the sky had fallen. In the hallway, Sarah approached, reaching out, but Liam pulled away. I don't know if I still have the right to talk to you. We all have the right to speak, but not everyone has the right to be heard. Liam turned, saying no more. In Robert's room, as he rested under a blanket, Mary entered with coffee. Boise's drip coffee is still good, she said, handing it to him. Better when you make it, Robert replied. Thank you. Mary sat beside him. But don't think the chaos is over. When you die, you're the first I'll haunt in heaven. Robert laughed. Hope they've got coffee there. Coffee, but no candy bars. I'll come back here. They fell silent, and in that quiet, the anger, jealousy, and resentment faded. Left were two old people, in love. The next day, Sarah received a brown envelope from Attorney Sanders. "This is from Mr. Robert. He said to read it in front of a mirror." Sarah, puzzled, returned to her room, set it on the dresser, but didn't open it right away. She changed, washed her face, brushed her hair, took a deep breath, looked in the mirror, and opened it. "Sarah, if you're reading this now, you know I left many questions unanswered. But deep down, I want you to know that in the next life, if you're a nurse again and I'm your patient, I'd let you hold my failing heart. I wasn't the first you loved or the last you'll be with, but I hope you remember to forgive me. Robert." Sarah paused, holding the letter, the weight in her chest. You don't need to own someone to feel they loved you. In the home's backyard, Robert walked the garden with a cane, Mary following. "Where are you off to now?" "To the garden's end. I want to see the mountains." "Want company? Number. But if you join, it'll be fun." They walked slowly, no rush, carrying the past's weight and the lightness of understanding. On Inheritance Day, no wealth was passed, but peace was bequeathed to every heart left behind. "Might as well stay here," Robert said, watching seniors dance in the activity hall to old lively tunes from a DJ. "Really, Robert?" Mary asked, sitting beside him with ice cream. "Not taking me back to Denver? We could start over, right?" "I know, Mary, but I finally found quiet love here, the kind you don't need to shout, warm but not cold." Mary smiled, a hint of sadness in her eyes. "Can I call that peaceful love?" "Love till the end, because we've learned to wait." While Mary shopped for eggs and vegetables at the market, Liam called from Montana. "Ma, how's it going with Dad?" "We're fine, peaceful. For the first time, I haven't yelled at him 2 days straight." "That's a record. How about you?" "Happy, quiet. You know, Ma, this might be the first time I'm not chasing anyone. Not Sarah, not her. No more chasing. I've accepted it. Not everyone you love stays." In the common room, Robert lounged in a rocking chair, reading Sarah's returned diary. A bookmark marked a page. "If I had to choose who I'd pick in the end, I might not choose anyone. I'd choose myself, but if he came back, even briefly, I might give our unfinished story another page." Robert smiled, folded the page, closed the diary, and pocketed his candy bar. When you don't know if you're still loved, step back. If they return, they couldn't forget you. On the veranda, Sarah approached with a fruit basket and a thermos of tea. "Mr. Robert," she greeted. "Oh, the new boss." "Not yet, just an assistant. You're still the original director in people's hearts here." She sat beside him. "I've got news," she said. What?" "You're retiring from volunteering." Robert nodded. "Yeah, till the end of this." "Why?" "I want to go back to our house. Before I'm gone, I want to see my old room again, the smell of Mary's closet, that old radio that barely works." "That's your choice," Sarah said. Robert smiled. "But visit me sometimes, so I can laugh even with my arthritis." They locked eyes, no words needed. The glance was enough to know they shared a feeling that never needed to be flaunted. Robert's last day as a volunteer arrived. The staff threw a farewell party. After the meal, he took the stage in the activity hall, grabbing the mic. "Thank you all. I never expected to find a new family at my age. They say it's great to be young, but it's better to grow old with someone true." He looked at Sarah, at the back. "And to the woman who proved not all care is just a job. Thank you. I didn't love you like a soap opera, but in a way I don't need to explain." Everyone clapped. Sarah teared up but held her smile. The next day, before leaving, Sarah handed Robert a small box. Inside was a new diary and pen. "So you can start writing," she said. "About what?" "Your own story, not women, inheritance, or antics. About you. Robert nodded. All right, but if I can't write any more, you'll finish it, right? You bet. They hugged, tight, slow, full of gratitude. As the car drove off, Sarah stood at the gate. 3 months later, Sarah received an envelope via courier. Inside was a USB. Hello, dear. If you're watching this, I'm probably gone, or at the other end of heaven with unlimited candy bars and free coffee. Sarah laughed through tears. I just wanted to leave you some final reminders, because you know me. Even dead, I love preaching. First, if a younger, handsome guy approaches, remember their abs aren't always real. Sometimes it's just bread rolls. Better a guy with a belly who can laugh. Second, if a man buys you chocolate but asks for a massage, only I get to pull that line. Others are great at kneading but short on standing up. Third, if the world tires you, don't seek love. Seek yourself, because when you find that, I might still be in your memories. Sarah clutched her lips, hearing his voice again, not just in the video, but real, soft, gentle, cheeky, true. The next day, she left her office and went to the garden, carrying a small frame of them, Robert with a watering can, her with a toothbrush, laughing. I'll put this here, she told the gardener, so he's still here somehow. Ma'am Sarah, a staff member said, is it true he left you nothing? Nothing, she replied, and that's the best part, because what he left can't be bought, divided, or transferred. It's memories. In Montana, as Liam distributed rice to seniors, he received an envelope from the same courier. Inside was his father's letter. Liam, son, I didn't change your name in the will. No matter how much you pained me, you're still the last I called son. You don't need my wealth. Since you were young, you inherited my stubbornness, my quick tongue, and the ability to love even when it hurts. Now you must know how to love without expecting anything. If you do, son, that's my inheritance to you. Your father, Robert. Liam smiled, tucked the letter in his pocket, and moved to the next house, an elderly woman alone. Mom, this is from Dad Robert, he said, handing her rice. Robert? She asked. That jokester on TV? Yes, but honestly, he was more than a jokester. He was an old man I loved, even if I admitted it late. In Denver, Mary cooked oatmeal again. The radio played an old favorite, Even If My Hair Turns White. Robert, if you're here, she whispered, I hope you know I've forgiven you. On the table sat a candy bar, so when you visit my dreams, you've got something to eat. And here ends the beautiful story of Sarah and Robert. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, dear listeners.
Thank you for watching this story by Mr. Hope. See you in the next one. Bye.